We're buzzing about the garden shaft, Craig. What's got you hooked on it? The water test struck gold. The greatest treasure chase in history is done. The History Channel declares the Lagina brothers pulled off the impossible. They cracked Oak Island's secret, and it's nothing like we imagined. Forget a plain chest of coins. This is a sprawling, multi-level vault packed with relics from far-off lands and ancient times. The jaw-dropper, an artifact so advanced it defies its era. What is it? A blade, a Roman blade that's unreal, found back in the 1940s near Mahone Bay right by Oak Island. This doesn't just tie up a mystery, it ignites a wilder one about who truly stepped onto the America's first 200 years of waiting. Done. It's real. The History Channel confirms it. No rusty spikes or wood chips here. They smashed into the vault, but this haul dwarfs pirate gold or Marie Antoinette's lost gems. It's got an item so out of place, it could flip North American history upside down. A discovery. Shadowy groups allegedly buried for ages. Hey crew, check the garden zone. Man, look at that, bubbles rising. Whoa, they're churning hard. You won't believe what the Lagina brothers dragged from that pit. The moment they broke through was pure movie magic. Deep in the garden shaft, where geochemist Dr. Ian Spooner flagged insane gold and silver spikes in the water, the team's massive drill punched past the final man-made wall. Yup, air pockets in the garden spot. It's off to the right by that boulder. We're pumping pressure from the drill rig through the tunnel to the garden shaft. Not wood or stone, but a thick, bizarre concrete-like mix laced with animal bones and some mystery metal built to outlast drills and centuries. The remote camera they dropped down left the whole crew floored. A sealed chamber roughly 15 by 15 feet crafted from giant hand-hewn granite blocks. Inside this zone, they called the sanctuary, sat several chests, one locked with iron, held gold coins. Not just Spanish or French, but Roman Empire mints, stamped with emperors from 1,000 years before Columbus. We've spotted what look like side chambers or voids below. We're pulling data for you. How did Roman coins sink 160 feet into North American soil? That alone could rewrite the past. But that's just the start. Another chest cradled scrolls sealed tight in lead tubes. Early peeks at one revealed a star map. Not of our skies, but constellations from a southern hemisphere view drawn with eerie precision. Weirder still, notes in a script linguists peg as a blend of ancient Hebrew and Phoenician. Funny now, those experts who scoffed at the 90-foot stone are probably choking on their words, but the showstopper, the piece that froze everyone, was a ceremonial blade, not a cross perched on a stone stand. What's a blade? A Roman blade that's unreal, found in the 1940s near Mahone Bay by Oak Island. Its grip wrapped in gold studded with raw gems, the edge forged from a dark, non-shiny metal. Lab tests later confirmed as meteor-born iron, the same cosmic metal cherished by ancients like the Egyptians, carved into the grip, the unmistakable twin-barred cross of the Knights Templar. Here's the bombshell. This doesn't just suggest Templars hit America, it screams they hauled their sacred relics across the ocean. It's not fancy anymore. The real point is its heft. Looks bronze, made well balanced. When was it forged? 2nd to 3rd century AD, a ceremonial gladius gifted by Emperor Commodus to honor elite gladiators. The team also found carefully placed human remains. 2 skeletons stood watch by the stand like eternal guards. This wasn't a loot pile, it was a crypt, a sacred haven, a signal for the future. This find honors the 6 lives lost over 2 centuries of searching, weaving an epic tale. Now, at its peak, the old legend that a 7th must fall before the island spills its secrets feels hauntingly prophetic, though thank God the final reveal came without more loss. In the end, Oak Island's puzzle is solved, but a bigger one's just begun. We know what's there, but how'd they do it? 2 centuries of obsession. To get why this find is massive, you've got to feel the 200 years of relentless drive before it. This wasn't a side hustle for many. It ate their lives, leaving ruin, heartbreak, and in grim cases, death. Oak Island saga is raw human grit against brutal odds. It kicked off in 1795 when young Daniel McGinnis saw a strange round dip in the dirt. You might not get it, but that spark lit a mystery gripping millions. He and buddies dug, hitting oak logs at 10 feet, then 20, then 30. They knew this wasn't nature's work, someone engineered it. That hole became the infamous money pit. Over 200 years, the island pulled in dreamers and tycoons. Dozens of outfits formed the Enslow Group, Truro Company, Oak Island Alliance. They came, they dug, they crashed, beaten by the island's slickest defense flood tunnels time after time. Just as victory seemed close, seawater roared in, flooding the pit in minutes. A man-made trap of insane complexity to guard whatever lay below. The scale of the fight staggers: huge steam pumps, massive cranes, elaborate dams to hold back the ocean. In the 1960s, treasure hunter Robert Dunfield went all in with heavy gear, carving a crater over 100 feet deep, 130 feet wide. He reshaped chunks of the island, but no chest, just more tunnel clues and backfilled shafts. A maze by a genius. We know a tunnel network runs below, maybe tying to the garden shaft. That's huge. We could burrow to the prize, then the human cost. 6 perished in the hunt, from an 1861 pump fume death to a 1965 father-son tragedy. This fueled the dark tale that 7 must die for the treasure, to show a heavy shadow on the recent when reminding us of real risks. Theories on what lay below were wild: Captain Kidd's pirate stash, lost French crown jewels, Francis Bacon's scripts, proving he penned Shakespeare's plays. I've always believed Oak Island holds more than gold. Maybe lost wisdom, Shakespeare's works. Who knows? Wise bookbinding material so deep in the money pit. The wildest idea: Knights Templar treasure, maybe the Holy Grail or Ark of the Covenant. Each clue, like the cryptic 90-foot stone or lead cross found earlier, only thickened the myth. Every generation of seekers added their saga, passing the obsession torch to the Laginus. But old school digging and hoping never cut it. They needed a new playbook. Science breaks the code for ages. The hunt was brute force and blind faith. The Laginus flipped the script. It's a whole new game. They knew a 200-year riddle doesn't fall to shovels and grit alone. Fight genius with genius, mystery with hard data. Their approach turned the island into a giant open-air lab. Here's the kicker: instead of random digs, they mapped the whole place with high-tech tools. Ground-penetrating radar, seismic scans built a 3D view of the depths. These showed a shock web of tunnels and big man-made voids. One anomaly in the garden shaft zone looked like a sealed vault, not a guess. A data-driven mark. Then Dr. Ian Spooner's water tests changed everything, sampling boreholes across the island, checking chemical makeup. His team found a stunner: money pit water had gold and silver levels hundreds of times above normal. We're buzzing about the garden shaft. Craig, what's got you hooked? The water test struck gold. Spooner went on camera saying the results screamed. A massive metal source leaking below the treasure was literally whispering its spot. This let them zero in with pinpoint accuracy. Core drilling was the other game changer. Instead of wrecking the land, they used heavy drills to pull 150-foot-plus samples. This brought early clues that kept them pushing. Seasons after seasons: old wood bits, non-native coconut fiber, parchment scraps, human bone. What's that look like? Looks wood, but crazy dense. Depth 160 to 165 feet. Solid, heavy, not rock, says the geologist. Maybe lignum vitae ultradense. Would each sample a history chapter. Carbon dating hit 1600s to 1700s, way before the money pit's discovery. Hard proof: a major secret project went down centuries ago. Why focus on the garden shaft? What about the main pit? Their data-backed theory: the original pit was a decoy to bleed seekers dry. The real score sat in a separate fortified vault. GPR water tests. Smart drilling finally outsmarted the island's architects. No luck here. Science and tech drew the map to dodge the traps. The find's a marvel, but what does it mean for our shared past? Global ripples. They got it: a vault stuffed with gold, ancient texts, a mystery blade. But the real gem isn't something you price. The artifacts in the sanctuary could rewrite what we know about history, not a side note. Whole chapters redone. Start with the big shock: the Knights Templar tie. Once a wild theory fit for films, but that meteor iron blade with their symbol, hard-proof Templars, a powerhouse order disbanded in the early 1300s. Tales say they fled with vast wealth sacred relics. If to Oak Island, they crossed the Atlantic a century before Columbus. This hints pre-Columbian trips weren't just Viking flukes, but planned heavy-funded missions by Europe's elite. Those Roman coins a real curveball. Did ancients hit the New World, or more likely Templar loot gathered over centuries from Europe and the Mideast? Either way, it shows classical artifacts in North America way before historians thought, like finding a jet engine in a pyramid. Flat out wrong. Then the scrolls, if they hold star maps, secret routes, writings, and old tongues, they're a lost knowledge jackpot guarding science banned in medieval Europe. Or maybe keys to the Templars' fabled banking web sanctuary's name says it protected more than cash. Secrets. This shakes American, European, Mideast histories we've spotted side chambers or voids below gathering data. It links a shadowy Christian order to Canada's shores, hinting at navigation and secrecy, more like modern spies than old tales. But skeptics are circling. Some archaeologists wave caution. Big claims need ironclad proof. Until artifacts get independent study, no rushing to Templar or Roman conclusions. Islands been dug for 200 years. Could items be planted or dropped by past hunters? Fair question. TV's push for a wow moment might outshine science. Other theories. Not Templars. Maybe slicker pirates or French-British colonial stashes. Less epic, but still massive history. Things get messy. Historians, hunters, governments all want a piece. Who owns it? Laguna's Canada. Templar heirs, if they exist. Court fights loom, not pit digs. History books are shifting now. But if Templars hid this, is their secret order still out? They're watching. Like and follow for more.